about 7 or 8 students in this class coming in next week, maybe 1 or 2 more from other courses that have selected to do the module. So I'll have a better idea on numbers tomorrow, actually, when I get a list from my department head to see how many are doing it. So other than that, Kumar, I think, do you want me to talk about the projects or something like that? Or?
Yeah. Do you mind talking a little bit about the BSc honors in IoT? Because
sure.
Students have only one course in IoT, and if they can see the courses taken by your students in general, they can see like how they complement each other.
Absolutely, yeah. So we came up with this idea a couple of years ago, just when the Internet of Things was starting to come to the fore as a really kind of an emerging area. Myself and a couple of the other lecturers here, we decided to create a new course called the Internet of Things, and you can see it up there right behind you there. Kumar is just going down through, so you're seeing some of the content there that we deliver and some of the modules. And one thing we really, in WIT here, it's a computing department, and we're very strong in programming, we're very strong in web development. And one thing we wanted to add into this is that with the emergence of IoT, some of our research groups were moving into that area and doing sort of interesting stuff with it. One thing we were missing is a concentration on sort of devices and electronics. And also what we really wanted to do is focus in, have some of our modules or courses focus in on emerging concepts in Internet of Things. So that's where we come, as Kumar's highlighted there, the Internet of Things Protocols and Standards module. So this one really focuses in on emerging tools, standards, communication protocols that we use in the Internet of Things. Another thing that you'd notice in this program is there's lots of project modules. You see them there. So you see there's Project Semester 5 in this semester here. There's also Project Semester 3 and Project Semester 4. And one thing we do in this program, which is kind of replicated in this module as well, is we like to give the students space to develop their own projects and to use their own devices perhaps, and to come up with their own project proposals, IoT project proposals. So we kind of call this the kind of concept of sort of permissionless innovation. So what we say to the students is like, you come up with an idea for a project and you can build it. And once it fulfills these criteria, we give you some guidelines, but once it fits into that, then you can develop what you want. And the idea there is that students are developing their own ideas, they're being innovative, but also over the whole lifetime of the course, they're developing projects. And this is really good for them because by the end of when they graduate with their degree, they have a portfolio of projects that they can talk about and they can show potential employers. And this kind of differentiates them a bit because, everybody does, if you're a software guy, everybody does programming, everybody does web development, everybody does this, but, not everybody develops, I don't know, like, a tweeting lamp, or not everybody develops, an application for a car that'll find, car parking spaces, and this is all sort of interesting stuff that students are interested in, they really enjoy doing, but also they can talk about this stuff when they go out into the workplace. So it's really kind of cool that way. So that was the whole idea. So like one thing we wanted in the Internet of Things program, to get back to it, is a very strong focus on physical and applied projects. And that's why we have this project module constantly throughout the whole of the program. And the Internet of Things, the module that we are doing together, will have that kind of ethos in it, right? Where hopefully you guys will kind of come up with some interesting ideas for projects and go along and try and develop them using the tools and tech that we use in IoT. So using sensors, using microcontrollers, doing a little bit of programming and combining that with what I would call physical computing as well. So connecting sensors and programming devices to take, data from those sensors, process them, and maybe send them to something else and do something interesting, right? So that's the general gist of the Internet of Things. And this year we're going to have our first graduates in the Internet of Things. It's been going for 4 years now, so we're going to have our first graduates next year. Providing they all progress and they're all doing quite well. They're all coming back into us from doing work placement in various places now. So we might get some of those guys to come in and talk to you actually, and talk about some of the projects that they developed while they were in this program. So that's what we do in the Internet of Things. Just to give you an idea, I guess, of some of the projects that the students have done in this module over the last while or so. Last year we had some first-year students. One of them developed an automatic bird feeder. So this is a bird feeder that this guy likes taking care of birds, so he developed a bird feeder, and it was connected to the internet, so it could detect when there was no food left in it, and it would automatically send him a text message to say, fill me up again. But not only that as well, he had it so that it would automatically, you could fill up this hopper of food, and every day it would dispense a certain amount of food so it wouldn't overfeed the birds, and when the hopper was empty, it would kind of tweet or text them to say, hey, fill me up again. So that was the first year that did that. And these are the kind of things. And he developed that with all the same kind of tools and tech that you guys are going to be using in this module as well, right? So these are the kind of things you can do. And there's a vast array of interesting projects and interesting project ideas out there that you can look at and come up with your own and hopefully use the tools and tech that we're going to talk about in this module to do that kind of thing. One thing that you guys might be interested in is that, and another reason why we developed the course is that we recognized in Ireland that there was no course like this in Ireland, or for that matter, in a lot of Europe at the time. There is now, 4 years later, but a combination of skills where you know about sensors and actuators and what they are and the electronics associated with them, combined with the knowledge of how to program devices and how to connect devices to the internet. That combination of skills is quite marketable, right? It's quite desirable at the moment to be able to do all of that together, right? And that's one thing we noticed, that there was no courses out there kind of addressing that. So that's one thing that we do in this course. So you'll see in the list of modules that we've got there that it's a combination of, there's a lot of my guys are, they're fairly good at programming, hopefully at this stage, right? There's a lot of programming in it, but that's combined with, as I said, with the physical side of things. Again, they do a lot of work with the electronics department here in our college as well. So they're learning a little bit about electronics, analog electronics, digital electronics, and they're able to combine that well with the software and application side of things. So they're able to develop, at the end of the day, they're able to develop what I call a full IoT application, all the way down from the physical sensor side, all the way up to the applications and cloud platforms and that kind of thing at the other side. So I guess that in a nutshell is the BSc Honours in Internet of Things, and that's what we do here. Yeah. So.
Okay, guys. Any questions so far for Dr. Walsh? That's usual. No questions.
That's okay. I'm sure I described it fairly comprehensively, I guess.
No, the students might say it's too early in the morning, 11 o'clock. So.
All right.
So they say any time between 1 and 4 p.m. is good.
Okay.
Before it's too early, after it's too late. So.
Yeah. I get you.
So,
okay.
So coming back, thank you, Dr. Walsh, on this. So I'm just
Sure.
going to quickly run down on the project that we talked about.
Good. Yep.
Just to tell them like what they're going to be working on, what the deliverables are. Give me a minute here. So I'm trying to. Oh boy, here. This is what I'm looking for. Share my screen. There we go. Okay.
Yep, I can see it.
So as I told you guys before, this is going to be a project-based class. There is going to be very minimal exams, but it is going to be more on hands-on activity. Okay. Your grade is going to be significantly dependent on the project outcome. Okay. And we will have extensive deadlines on this project. So the very first thing I would like to say is, let's being in Michigan and looking at where our students have been going in the past 5 years, that either working in for the big three or the suppliers for the big three. Okay, so we just pick the theme of automobiles here. Okay, so if the project requirements are that it has to apply to a particular theme. Okay, because the reason is, if we do not pick a particular theme, everyone will be working on different projects, and the challenges you would face is very high. So if you centralize to a theme, your projects will have some common elements. You can work with each other, you can help out each other. Okay, that's the idea we affect vehicles. But it does not mean you cannot work on healthcare or infrastructure or others. But you need to talk to us ahead of time and get our approval. Okay, so when I say vehicles, we don't mean to say that you have to open up the car and start working inside. It has to do something to do with vehicles. Let's say we have, like on the picture right side here, we have the roads, buildings, right? Infrastructure such as bridges, we have speed controls, or we have signal lights, we have like notice boards on the side of the road. We have many things here. So you can either have a vehicle-to-vehicle communication-based projects, or you can have vehicle-to infrastructure such as buildings, or maybe signs on the road, or you can have a project related to vehicle to the internet via the cellular network. You could have any project. So I'll give you some examples down the line, but the centralized theme is going to be on vehicles. Okay, so I will post this on Blackboard as well, like every other notes here. So let's see. Okay, come on, I'm moving. There we go. So the very first deadline is you all. Oh, is Dr. Walsh here or did he leave? Expand to show video. Oh, he's here. Just trying to see if you're here or not.
No, I'm here. Yeah, I'm behind you.
Right there. Yes. So, anyways, like the first deadline is going to be your concept. 3 weeks from today, you have to come up with a concept. Okay. What is the concept that you're going to be working on? Okay. 3 weeks from today, you have to write a one-page report on that. Okay. Guys, let me explain this again. When I say one-page report, it does not mean triple spacing, 2-inch border, 14-point font. No. No. Okay? Like a 1-inch border, or probably I'll share with you an IEEE template, and that is what you'll be using on. Like probably there is going to be a 14-point heading and a 10-point font, single spacing. Okay? And also, you cannot copy and paste from online. Okay? The moment we see that, I'm going to check every document you submit. If I see plagiarism detection, I can mark where you got the content from, and I can highlight it. I can pick the references. We have softwares to do that.
Yeah, we do too.
Yes. And if you ever submit that outside, you might even be blacklisted. So we got to get into the habit from right now. Okay? So this one-page document you're going to write has to talk about what is your project, what are the goals that you're trying to achieve, what are the specifications of it. Are you trying to achieve power? Are you trying to achieve reliable communication? Are you trying to achieve data analysis? Or what are you trying to achieve in here? Okay, that is the one thing you got to be clear on. Okay, and also, please do note that when I say this is the deadline, it does not mean we are cutting you loose right now and asking you to come back in 3 weeks. What I would say is each of you think about it in the next week or so. Let's form into teams, okay, brainstorm ideas and have one-on-one discussions and pick literature and go from there. Okay. So that said, you need to write a term paper at the end of this class. So these deadlines are set in such a way that all the work is split over the next 15 weeks. So the first few weeks you'll be writing the scope, the next few weeks you'll be writing the introduction, the literature review, benchmarking, and all that. Okay. So in order to do this, you all need to focus on, sorry, there seems to be a pen. Literature review. We all need to do extensive literature review. And when I say literature review, guys, see what I said here. No blogs. Blogs do not count as literature. Okay, blogs, instructables, tutorials, they are not literature. There are some hobbyist projects, that's okay, but we need scientific literature. Okay, I can help you with that. The TA can help you with that. We need to identify resources there. Okay, and also by the end of 3 weeks, I will share a template with you guys on the supplies that you might need. I mean, I understand you might not know everything you need on day one, but this is a starting point. And the TA and I and Dr. Walsh on the other side, we can help you identify what you might need, and we can tell you. In fact, I will post the file on Blackboard on the list of supplies we need. Like if you need an accelerometer, for instance, I will share with you the list of accelerometers we have, so you can pick and choose from that. So if you choose an accelerometer and the other team also chooses an accelerometer, you have some similarities and you can work with each other. Okay? So 3 weeks from then, once you identify the project, you need to go into, okay, you know the goals, and what is the process we're going to follow to attain those goals, okay, and what was done by others, okay. So you got to write a 2-page document, which is fairly simple, right? I mean, you guys write what, 20-page documents in your English class? Tell me I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Okay. How big of reports do you write? 10. Oh, 2 is easy then for you then. 2 pages.
20% of what is.
Yeah, see? Only 20%, and you have 6 weeks to do this. Right, Liam? But I will also say this, guys. Once you submit the project concept, right, we are not going to take it for granted. We are going to review it. We're going to give you feedback within a week or 10 days for you to refine it and address the limitations and improve upon it. Okay, that's the whole idea. The whole idea is, by the end of this class, you'll have a working prototype of a project, and you'll have a documentation, a scientific documentation to validate your project, and you'll also have a good presentation. You can show it to others and saying that, hey, this is the project. Okay. Those are the 3 deliverables you're going to have. Any thoughts on this? Good? Bad? Good? David says good, so let's go with that. Okay. Now, once we define the scope and once we come up with a project proposal, as we go along, we need to present our project, okay? And as we, let me ask you this. Would you be interested to read 1 page, maybe 500 words of text, or like to look at an image and right? I mean, image is what you're saying. A little bit of both. I like that. So, but the best, I mean, you're also going to give a presentation, right? So in the presentation, you got to present your project. And one way to do that is using graphics. Okay? When I say graphics, I'm not asking you to do CAD drawings like this. No. Just a pictorial representation of what your drawing is, maybe a block diagram, maybe an information flow, or maybe a mind map to start off, right? And you got to do this graphic. Like if you see, 22nd of October is your project proposal. 29, a week from then, is your graphic. And guys, please, yes, Steve.
I just had a quick question.
Shoot it.
These dates are on a Monday. You've had some.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Dr. Walsh, the question here is, the dates given here are for Mondays of the week, when the class here is on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll fix that.
Yeah, we'll move it up a day. Yeah. Well spotted.
Yeah. Good observation. Good observation here. And yes, sir.
Why can't we use them as
Good. If you're really good at it, okay, be my guest. But what we realized is Paint is good, but if you're trying to make any edits to the schematic as time goes along, it is a pain. There are much better tools to do schematics than Paint. Okay. I'm not saying Paint is bad, but I'm trying to save you time and trouble down the line. Okay. Editing schematics in Paint is going to be a challenge. Okay. And the other point is, the schematics that you do in Paint, when you take them and put them in a Word document for a scientific presentation, the quality is not so good. Okay. That is primarily the reason. And there are other tools that you could use. Even use PowerPoint, that's okay. And use maybe Visio, that's one of the tools. Or maybe there is Lucidchart. There are Concept Draw. There are many other tools you could use. Okay. And we have majority of those tools right here. Okay. But that's a good point. No question there. Okay. Once you do your graphic, a week from then again is benchmarking metrics. So you came up with your concept, but how would you evaluate if your project is meeting the goals or not? So if you're saying I'm going to make sure my system is going to send data continuously, how would you measure it? Okay. Are you going to measure the throughput? Are you going to measure the probability of success? Or what is the test you're going to use to evaluate your own concept? Okay. Because down the line, you got to test your design and validate it, but you got to identify the test. Okay. Again, if you see, the last slide was talking about a one-page document, right? Oh, sorry. Give me a second here. It was the last slide was talking about a one-page document here, right? But the next page we see here, we're talking about a PowerPoint presentation, okay? So this is done in steps, incremental steps, getting ready for your final presentation. So your graphics and your benchmarking, you'll create a PowerPoint presentation and you'll update it, okay? And once you do that, a week from then is your first presentation, November 12th, or in this case, it's going to be November the 13th, okay? So you should talk about everything till that point. What is the rationale for your picking a particular project? And what are the current challenges in that project? And how are you trying to address it? What was done previously? And what is your plan to move forward in the next 3-4 weeks? And what are the current challenges you're facing? Everybody is going to give this presentation. Okay? And a week from then, you will document everything. The same thing as what you presented, you will document everything here. And by the way, I will also share with you the papers written by our students in the previous class, just to show you an example of what they could look like. Okay? But it does not necessarily mean that you have to reach only there. You can go much, much higher. And in fact, the expectation is going to be higher because your grades is also dependent upon that. Okay. The dates for these are yet to be determined. The final presentation and your manuscript. Okay. So a summary of what you did over the time is what you're looking at. Okay. These are some of the sample projects I just drafted. I mean, I picked them out of by just doing some literature review. I found that these are some of the projects that you could be working on, but it does not necessarily mean you have to pick one of the 6 here, one of the 5 listed here. Okay, you guys here in this room, the 17 students in this room, can work with the 7 or 8 students in Waterford together to identify a project that you all like. Okay, so these are some of the projects here. Any questions on this, guys? Yes? No? Everything is easy? Austin?
All good.
All good. Liam, finally, a question.
These projects, so they would be doing something over in, like, across the world?
Good point. That's a good point. The question is, like, are these projects going to be implemented across the pond, across the world, with students here and students in Waterford?
Like move their car over and it tells us in the app from across the world.
Sure. Yep. So the question is, like, are students going to be working together? The short answer is yes. And are we going to? And the next question is, like, are we going to implement the project in one place to get a real-time update at the other place, such as implementing in Waterford and seeing the results at CMU and vice versa? The answer for that is yes.
Yes.
There you go. You got a double yes there.
It sounds good to me, yeah.
Okay. And now, in terms of teams of 3 to 4 members is what we're going to do. There are a couple of rules here based upon the number of students we have here and based on the number of students we have there. Each team need to have at least 2 CMU students and at least 1 Waterford student. Okay, at least. Then you can have more. Okay, then you could have a team of 3 plus 1 or 2 plus 2. It's yet to be determined. And how do you communicate with them? What do you guys think? What is the best way for you guys to communicate? Skype? Any other?
Discord.
Sorry?
Discord.
I have no idea what's talking about.
You talk at a microphone to each other.
Oh, a Discord? It's like Skype. Something.
Well, it has, I don't know. It's a little different.
Okay, I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. So, it is was anything about it? Something? Discord.
Discord.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I've never used it. But if
Okay.
it works, hey.
Maybe. There you are. I'm looking for you, Drake. Yes, sir. You did? Yeah. Created a workspace for us?
Yep.
So we have one student here, Dr. Walsh, from, he worked in Ford Automotive in the summer, and he's back. And I was talking to him, and he said they were using Slack extensively at Ford.
Yep, well, We use that a lot here. I'm involved on another course where the students collaborate using Slack a lot. It works very well. So it's something perhaps that might be useful for us. I'm going to look into it in the next couple of days to maybe set up some sort of structure within Slack that we can use for this. And it's up to you whether you want to collaborate with it or not. But if I could just jump in there, Kumar, I can show you guys. I can try and show you how it looks, how our students use it. I have a screenshot here. I'll just try and share it. Okay.
Let me. And trying to see if I can make the big screen here.
So I wonder if I can share my screen here and then. Sharing all of it. Hold on a second.
Stop sharing screen. Stop. Okay. There you go.
Right.
No.
So I'll try and share because I'm on a split screen here. I might have to jump out of the split screen for it to work, but I'll try it. Or I'll try application and this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
What's happening? Can you see it? Yeah, I think you can, right?
Yep.
So this is just an example of how our students use it here in WIT. This is on a different course, somewhat similar to what we're doing here. I'm lecturing on it this semester. So Slack is a great collaborative tool. You can set up channels within it for discussion. We use it with our students. This is a fully online course, so we use it both to communicate with our students about administrative things about the course, but more importantly, the students use it to collaborate and work together on assignments and problems. And this is where it might be useful on this course as well. And you'll see down here, I'm just going to look up here so I can see what I'm talking about here. Last semester I was on a programming module here, and you can see this is within a particular Slack URL. You have different channels, and perhaps you guys could set up, you can set up a channel for each of the groups that you might be working in, and then we could also set up maybe a general channel just for general discussion about the content as well, just for regular assignments or labs that you might be doing. And what we find here is, as you can see here, students put up issues that they might be having with regard to their assignments or their coursework, and they can discuss it collaboratively online. And what we're finding with this is that students are helping each other and they're learning from each other quite quickly, and it's really taken off well on the courses that we use it. So perhaps this is something you guys could use as well, particularly I think it would work quite well because of the distance and the whole cross the pond and the out of hours thing. You put something up there and people can respond as and when they're online. So we actually conduct online labs with this, where I would, I would guarantee that I'm available on Slack at certain times, and students can come to me and discuss issues or problems, technical issues or whatever with me at that time. But also they can post up on Slack anytime at all, and then when I log in I can see it, and then I can maybe answer the questions. So you can see here we have discussions, and people can jump in and kind of give their 10 cents worth or whatever you want to call it, about a problem. And what I find it's great from my point of view is because before I even if a student posts sort of a question or a problem, a lot of the time other students kind of collaborate and help them out before I even get there. And that's kind of what we want, because then the students start collaborating together and learning from one another. And it's not like led by me all the time, if you know what I mean. So it's quite good. So this is an option for us, perhaps. So as I said, I'm going to investigate this over the next day or so, maybe set up a URL for this course and maybe set up some channels and see if it works.
Yep.
That sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, our students have probably, I would say, with an exception of one or two, have almost no experience with Slack. That includes myself.
It's kind of easy enough to get into, and if you're used to any kind of social media, it kind of lends itself to that. Yeah. But we don't have to commit to it. We could try it, but if groups want to use something else like Skype or whatever, then that's okay with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one reason we are talking about Slack here, guys, is you have a documentation of everything, right? If you're participating in this class, if you have a problem, you post the problem there, and students from Waterford have a website link, or they have a particular code they want to share with you, they can dump it in, and you have a repository of that. Or if someone else in a different team has a similar challenge, you can also look at the solution and see if you can adopt it, right? And you get comfortable with this, and within a few months, I know you're all graduating, and when I was talking to industries, they were telling us that they use Slack extensively as well. So it will be just one other tool in your belt.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, I'd emphasize that over this side of the water as well. It seems to be gaining a lot of traction with industry here, Slack. So it's a nice skill to have in terms of when you go out and talk to potential employers that, oh yeah, we use Slack in some of our coursework. I know how to collaborate with that kind of thing. So it helps.
Okay. So let's see, one last thing I want to talk about here. There you go, share. I did share this. Okay, we talked about communication and repository of all your documents. Oh, come on. Okay, so we'll set up a OneDrive folder for every one of you here. So I will send you the link. Once the teams are formed, we'll have individual teams OneDrive folders. So you can post every document in there, source codes, reports, presentations, maybe tutorials that you find. You can use it as a repository here. Okay. So with that, I'll stop and see if you guys have any questions. Or do you guys have any thoughts on a project that you guys want to do? Yes? No? Looks like it is silent as always. Probably once we close this conference call, maybe they'll start talking, maybe.
Sure. Well, there's a lot to digest there as well. We went through quite a bit there. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So with that, probably we'll stop the conference call, Dr. Walsh, if you're okay with that.
That's fine with me.
And I'll catch up with you later.
Yeah, we can talk offline later on. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Let me see if I can. Yep, sounds good. See you then.
Okay. Thank you, Kumar. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.